Good afternoon, and I'm working on my GSXR 1000 project bike called Mediocre. As you can see, Mediocre, my paint job by the way, which has been on there a good year or two now, and it's surviving, so I'm quite pleased with that. Today's little project, I've done videos on this before, and I thought, you know what, I'll do another one. All I'm doing is taking the caliper off, giving it a clean, checking it over and giving it a clean. But I thought I'd just, walk you through what I do. And if you've got hints and tips that you could help me, then please leave it in the comments. Right, these are the two screws that hold the backing plate on. It's just while it's in situ I like to get everything a bit loosened off, especially this. That was quite easy. Especially this Allen bolt going through the top of the pads, just so everything's ready to come off, because while it's still on here I've still got the leverage on the bolts to if they are a lot tighter or stiffer than they were, but they were quite easy. These have been copper slipped again probably years ago, but it just doesn't need topping up, and I think they assist. I think it definitely assists with it not seizing, and being this is alley and the bolts are steel, it's not a good combination to have steel things stuck in aluminium, especially when it's your brakes. Right, caliper off. So generally speaking, all I do from here is finish the unpacking process, being careful of these little screws, because the first one to come off is, as you can see, it's a little bit spring loaded, so it can go ping. Likelihood of it going ping to any sort of distance, highly unlikely. Ain't going to take your eye out, so I'm not wearing protective glasses. I am wearing variofocal glasses because I'm an old blind person. But yeah, just stripping it off, and braided lines, so I'm not so worried about hanging it on the lines. What I won't be doing is putting any force on that. It is just the weight of the caliper that is pulling down on them. Got some nice even wear on the brake pads. They're clean enough. Bit of rust on this one, and that's due to lack of use, and I think it has slightly stuck to the disc, where the last time I used the bike was in wet weather and it's been bloody freezing cold, and it's just gripped the disc. So I'll probably get a bit of a wire brush or something and clean that off, and then you can see the oxidisation, the white powder forming. As I say, last trip out I did get caught in some rather moist conditions, and Mediocre's not really built for that. It's my bike. I made it. Well, Suzuki helped with the engine and, you know, the suspension and every single main component that's necessary, but the chitsy bits that a lot of people probably don't like, that was me. Not sponsored, just using Worth brake cleaner. Just found on eBay that I could get 5 tins of this. I think it was relatively cheap for 5 tins, so I bought a bit of a job lot. Bit of liberal spraying, and then get the wife's toothbrush. Just clean off the worst of it, go around the pistons, try and get the shit moving. And I don't know whether I should be worried about getting it on the tyres. This is how I've always done it, and I've got it on the tyres, and I've had no detrimental effect from the tyres. You know, no excessive loss of grip or anything like that, or indeed the tyre cracking or anything. Right, but I mean, another thing to look at is all the pistons are out pretty much evenly. I've upset them slightly when I've rocked the caliper from side to side when it's been on the disc, just to make some more room to pull it off, she said. But yeah, that's generally it. Just a bit of a brush up, really. I mean, it won't. It's not like a miracle product, brake cleaner. It takes the detritus out and it flashes off. Is it called flashing off? So it doesn't leave any fluid or anything on it. It's not detrimental. It's not bad for your brake linings or anything, so you can get it on there. Again, I'd have them out of the way because I don't really want to get this stuff on them, but if it does go on them, I'm not worried about them. Should I be? Again, stick it in the comments if you think it's not good for the brake cleaner to be over your pads. As you can see, it's taken off a bit of surface shit, but the caliper itself has got ingrained years of abuse. I've never taken them off and got them professionally refurbished with a paint job or anything. I don't mind a bit of patinaing on my bikes. They are to be used and enjoyed rather than as a showpiece that I only go to a cafe and show it off, or even just hang it up in my lounge. Not that my lounge is big enough. But yeah, there you go. As I say, it takes off a bit of the surface grime, but it's not a miracle cleaner. And being that your calipers get extremely hot, the stuff that lands on them gets cooked on, and I suppose can get cooked into the paint, especially over time. Yeah, that looks all right. And a bit down the other side now, which you ain't going to see too well. But yes, it's mainly to check them over and make sure they're all right. I've certainly had no problems with the brakes that I'm trying to find a cure for a problem. The other thing I've started doing is taking these vibration plates off the back and cleaning the shit out behind. I think this helps. Again, just takes the worst of the shit off, the detritus. So they can do their anti-vibration, anti-squeal job better than they were. I think on my 600, my Corona, the back brakes have developed a squeal that will probably only be crap on the backs of the pads. I don't know the science behind it, I don't know the specifics behind it, but I know this is dirt, and dirt shouldn't be back here, so I'll clean it off. And again, it's no professional valet service that the brakes are getting. It is just, it's more about checking that they're okay, and the pistons are working and free from shit. Again, through the winter months, if indeed you ride your bike through the winter months, and it's nothing to be scared of. There you go, it's got rid of that bit of rust that was on there. So why am I keeping on doing it then? It just feels good. It just feels good. Don't breathe in the brake dust. There you go, top tip. Don't breathe in the brake dust. It's not hallucinogenic or anything, or else we'd all be doing it, but it's not good for your lungs. Your lungs are there to breathe in air and take the necessary bits from that to your body to infuse chemical reactions and throw out the carbon dioxide as a waste gas. So yes, brake dust is not part of that process. And again, if you think it is part of that process and it is necessary to breathe it in, please leave a comment. Let me know. Perhaps back it up with some science. Alright, just make sure the pads are far enough apart. It's always a bit trickier getting the calipers back on. Let's get that top one in first, I think. I can't quite turn the caliper round. I'd need to cut all the cable ties and that holding various cables and brake lines where they need to be held. And I don't want to undo all them and have to redo them all. So I'm having a little bit of a fight with the caliper. Pinch them up. Don't want much. Don't want much at all, or else you will have problems undoing it. Well, you might have problems undoing it. I don't think I've ever over tightened it that much that I've had problems getting it back on. And there you go. Caliper back on. Bolts back in. And before I do them all the way up, I will check that I've actually got a pad either side of the disc, because that'd be ridiculously funny to get them both the same side. But I'm sure it's been done. And click and click, and then click. And click. And click. Right, so that's all torqued up. And that's it, that's pretty much all I do. take it off, give it a check, get rid of the worst of the brake dust and that. As I say, I haven't said in this video, I don't think, but I haven't used mediocre much this year, unfortunately, with one thing and another. So I hasn't really had time to wear anything down or break anything. But that's it. That's how I check my calipers. Give them a bit of a. They spruce up too much of a poetic license. It's cleaner than it was, and the next job is to clean the bike. So I'll get on with that. There you go. That was me checking and cleaning my caliper. The only thing left is just to pump the brake lever, get some feel back into it, and that's easy enough to do. This is the brake lever, and what you do is put, well, from this angle I'm going to put a thumb on the brake lever, and I'm going to put a finger behind the grip so I can pinch the two together, which will give a pumping action. You see that went to the handlebar, pumping action to the brake brake lever, which will bring the pads out, and there you go. Beautiful. Sorted. Thanks for watching. Hopefully next time you see mediocre, it'll be gorgeously clean. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll catch you again. Ta-ra.